Hello again and welcome to Eat This Lose That program. Today you're going to be seeing another segment on the orthopedic series done by Dr. Ananthakrishnan. In this you're going to learn about ankle fractures, ankle arthritis and other ankle injuries. It's going to be a very interesting discussion and I want you to watch it. Send us your questions at info@reddycardiology.com and based on your questions we will be able to create more videos. So please watch it and enjoy it.
Arthritis of the ankle, as I said, it's not that it doesn't happen, it happens, especially untreated ankle sprains give rise to a lot more arthritic changes. And this also, because of the injury, it produces a lot of loose bodies in the ankle because the cartilage is damaged, is chipped off, and now it's like a joint mouse. Okay, when we say joint mouse, the reason it's called a mouse, as we all know, is it gets into nooks and crannies. And when it does that, since it's cartilage and little piece of bone, it grinds the rest of the cartilage. So it produces more problems. Okay, now we said everything, this is basically the tibio-talar joint. Okay. Remember I said the ankle really is not just the tibio-talar, it also includes the subtalar joint. The subtalar joints are always involved with any heel fractures. Okay, the oscalsis fracture will always involve the subtalar joint. Same way jumping off heights, when you land on your heel, that energy has got to go somewhere, so it goes through the subtalar. So you can get tearing of the ligaments in the subtalar joint are all in between the bones. So they can tear. The shape of the joint is such that it does not normally dislocate, but it subluxes. Again, you have to be careful, you have to pick it up. You have to treat them properly. Because if you don't, you're asking for trouble.
Does an MRI pick up these things?
MR will pick it up, but you don't need an MR. A lot of good X-rays will pick it up. Okay, and if you get a subluxation in the region of the subtalar joint, if you can demonstrate a subtalar injury, which you can with the oblique films, then you need to really protect that foot and ankle. Because if you don't, it will not heal.
And it takes again, how many, 6 weeks to 8 weeks or even longer?
Longer. It
12
will
weeks.
take the same 8 to 12 weeks for it to heal. Okay, we have not talked much about the fractures. Fractures are an entirely different subject, but it is based on this principle of the hex wrench and the nut. Okay. The nut, as it turns, as the ankle turns, it tears the ligaments, and then as it keeps going, it pulls off one side. So in the ankle, usually, depending on whether the foot was turning out or in, you can usually tell by looking at the X-ray, because then the side that was turning will cause the bone to break on that side, and the other ligaments are pulled off on the opposite side. And you don't have to worry about this too much because there's a lot of arguments about debate whether it's the fibula the more important bone or the tibia. That's for the orthopedic surgeons, but you don't have to worry about it. The lateral pillar of the ankle, and the other thing that you have to know about, and you should really ask the family doctor when he sees you. So when you get this injury to the syndesmosis, like we talked about,
right?
The syndesmotic injury, if it continues, where do you think it goes? It goes on up between the tibia and the fibula.
And it's going to separate the whole...
It will separate the two bones, go all the way up, and usually breaks near the neck of the fibula.
Wow.
The interosseous membrane completely gets torn.
That's a painful condition.
It's a painful condition, but all that then you see, if you get an X-ray, especially they'll be complaining of the knee pain, so most of the time they will get the knee x-ray, which will see the fibular fracture. And if you don't put 2 and 2 together and get a good series ankle x-rays, you will miss the whole ball.
So even if you try to fix the fibular head, you still have the problem.
You're not going to fix the fibula. There's no reason to fix the fibular head. What you really have to fix is the syndesmosis. You fix the syndesmosis, and then if there's fractures, then you fix the bones. Otherwise, you treat this is one of the few times you may have to open the ankle.
That's what I was going to ask. It has to be
because
operated?
The ligament comes completely off and then tucks in, so it will not reduce.
So you open, pull the ligament out,
pull the ligament
put it back
out, put the joint back together.
In that scenario, do the ligaments heal?
No, they will heal, but no different than any other. It still takes the 12 weeks.
So is it the way the foot falls? Is it on the lateral foot or the medial? Which is the one which causes most of these injuries?
About the type of injuries are basically equally divided. It all depends, as I said. Most common injuries is grandma or people like me stepping off the curb, especially at night. Okay, so all depends on how you're stepping off the curb. So if it catches as you're stepping off, then the outside tears. If it catches after you step off, then the inside will tear. So it doesn't really matter which one it is. Both of them have to be treated.
The second question you said is when they jump, is it advisable to fall on the heel or should we fall on your toes?
Most of the time when people jump, it's recommended that you fall on the toes and then spring off. Take one step. Don't try stand right there, because that takes all the strain there. You kind of unload.
So jump and roll forward rather than putting the weight back on the heel.
On the thing, yeah. So that's not a very good thing.
Okay, sorry. So coming back to the arthritis.
Okay, arthritis, the inflammatory arthritis, like rheumatoid arthritis, they involve all the joints. So there is no specific reason why they don't involve the ankle or anything. They do involve the ankle.
And sometimes gout can also involve the ankle.
Gout can involve the ankle, but the post-traumatic arthritis is the one biggest problem we have with the ankle joint. As I said, the ankle arthritis develops over a very, very long time. It's not something that you sustain a fracture today and within 2 years you're going to get the arthritis. That's very rare. Most of the time you're talking about 15, 20 years down the road.
After the injury.
After the injury.
Now what about runners? They run a lot. Do they sustain ankle arthritis?
No, they don't sustain. The running itself does not produce arthritis. Now if they get a fracture or something of that nature, then it's different. Now the people who get, all the other people who get ankle arthritis, sports injury ones are the linemen in football. Okay, they're standing with their feet planted, and when these guys, these 300-pound light folks fall on another 300 light person, all that weight gets transferred through the ankle, and then it snaps things. And they say it's a sprain, but that's where the problem is. They're treated as sprains, and sometimes they're not allowed to heal completely.
And last time you were mentioning they get back to work within less than 7 weeks.
They get back in 2-3 weeks. They're 2 weeks at the most, and they're back playing. Yes, they put on splints and this thing and then play. But if you put an ankle splint on, it reduces your effectiveness right away because you don't have the speed, especially if you're a running back. But linemen, they're told, look, you don't have to move much anyway, so go back and play. I guess if they're paying you a couple of $1 million, then of course you have to follow through with that. You can't say no. You can't say no. So football, I think football and all these contact sports, the amount of physical abuse that these players take is phenomenal. Nearly every one of them is a cripple by the time he's 40, 45.
I have a few patients, and not only have they had multiple concussions and memory loss, but they also have multiple joint aches and pains and
joint injuries
inability
are
to
very
walk or
common
run on
in
the
these
treadmill.
people. Yeah, so they cannot walk on treadmills. So that's one of the things. So that's the treatment, as I said, for ankle arthritis is basically two things. One is the medications to start with, or you can put them in a brace, which what it does is it bypasses the ankle completely, and it's got a rocker bottom on the foot. So the foot, instead of now, the brace makes them walk like a rocker bottom.
So they roll.
Yeah, just roll, because there's no movement in the
That's
ankle.
it. But the ankle is stable and protected.
Ankle is protected.
Actually,
But,
that's a good invention. I mean,
it's a decent thing, but they're cumbersome. Those braces are cumbersome, and a lady is going to a social gathering. You try telling her that she needs to put on a brace with a rocker bottom shoe.
It won't go down very easily.
It doesn't go down at all. Forget about going through nicely.
Nicely, yeah.
And if it's your wife, you'll have to hear about it.
Absolutely. And if you were the responsible party for causing the ankle injury, you're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble, yeah. So be careful.
So in a nutshell, ankle injuries, if you have ankle swelling and pain in the ankle, find out if it is inflammatory or if it's post-injury inflammation. 2, if your x-ray shows there's no fracture, be aware that it could be not bone fracture, but it could be ligamental tear or ligamental strain.
And they are more common, much more common than a fracture is the ligament injuries.
So the ligament injuries are much more common, but they also take much longer to heal, and they are slower to heal, and also need to be put in cast, similar to what you would experience with a bone fracture. You also ask your doctor to make sure they do a complete ankle series. That means it's not just 2 views, but 3 views, making sure that the tibiofibular joint is also intact. Am I right?
Yeah, you have to check that every time.
Also look at the subtalar joint to make sure even that joint in the bottom is also intact, and there's no subluxation, meaning movement of the bone forward, causing you to have more problems down the road. Initially, you might find that you have some pain and symptoms for a short period of time, and after some time you'll heal, but you may not heal completely, and down the road, as he was mentioning, that the tibia and fibula can separate and you actually start having knee pain. Now when you start having the knee pain, always remember, ask your doctor, hey, my knee is hurting, but could it be also because of my ankle that's causing it? So please, I want the ankle series done, completely evaluated before you fix the knee. Am I right in saying so far?
Right, yeah. You should just remember the body is a linked system. So any trauma to the body, if the force doesn't completely dissipate with one injury to one joint, it goes on and involves the next joint. So it's not something that just because I hurt my ankle, nothing is going to happen to my knee. You can injure both the joints at the same time. And if the injury is severe enough, it can actually go up further. So it's not
the hip and the back.
Hip and the back too. So it's not this thing. So that, I think, about covers the ankle.
So in a nutshell, what do you learn? From last time you learned about the foot. Footwear is important. Start walking. When you start walking, pay attention where your next step is going to be. Most of us never pay attention, especially coming off the curbs, and I have fallen multiple times off the curbs. So now, having learned from experience, I now make it a point to first stop, look around and see the next 10 feet, where am I going, and I continue to watch where I'm going, because otherwise I've managed to hurt my ankle multiple times because of stepping off the curb.
The other place, things are like potholes.
Potholes, yes.
If you step into a pothole, and especially people who have kids, they go, it's nothing against the coaches, because they also, for some reason, have to have this dictum, winning is everything. So the kids, fall, twist their ankles and hurt themselves, but the coach will just say,
get up and move.
Yeah, get up and be a man. Go play some more. Be a man. Be a man is fine, but I was never liked by high school coaches, because I would say, fine, he can be a man if you will guarantee him a contract of $5 million. If you send me a check along with that saying that he's guaranteed $5 million, I'll let him play. Otherwise, I won't.
Thank you for joining us on this Eat This, Lose That video newsletter. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did doing this. Now, if you have any questions after watching this, please forward us your questions at info@reddycardiology.com. Based on the questions you ask, we will create more video newsletters and post it for you to watch. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and like us on Facebook. And if you like what we are discussing, please forward this to as many people as you know. Our goal is to target 1 million people. Thank you.